Hello everyone, welcome back. For those of you who aren't familiar with my channel, my name is Edward Shin, and this is my 2019 Toyota Tundra Limited in the TRD off-road configuration. In this video, I am going to talk about all of my overlanding mods so far, as well as aesthetic ones for my daily driving as well as my overland adventures. And I am Edward Shin, and I am going to talk to you about some of the issues I've encountered during my modifications and some of the things I may wish to change around, as well as any cons I've noticed with this overlanding rig so far. Now, one of the very first things I did when I first got this truck was to cover up the chrome with Plastidip. This dark gray color that comes with this truck, the Plastidip does blend in pretty well. But because it is spray-on rubber coating, I've noticed that sometimes while driving at high speeds in the freeway, when there are rock projectiles hitting the grill, it will kind of, as you can say, kind of chip away at some of that Plastidip covering. If I could go back, I probably would opt out of the Plastidip though, and maybe put like a body match colored grill surround, and then maybe like a different aftermarket grill. But the beauty of modding is that we can still do later down the line. So like I mentioned, I am going to keep that in mind and possibly do it later down the line if this doesn't prove to be something that I like later on. Now I'll put a link to the previous video in the description below, but I did have a video where I showed the mod about the Plastidip as well as the tires and wheels. But just to get you caught up, the tires are actually a bigger size of 33 inches with the Falcon Wildpeak AT3W. And as you can see, the side caps, the side mirror caps, as well as the door handles used to be chrome, and then I want to black that out. So initially what I want to do is I want to get those covers from the dealership and get the OEM parts to make them blacked out. But instead, because I had a lot of Plastidip material left over in the can, I decided to Plastidip that as well as the emblems. Except the only issue is that because as you notice the size of the truck, it's a relatively bigger truck, we actually go through a lot of trails which are kind of narrow. And as a result, when pinstriping occurs, it does kind of scratch on the Plastidip material a little bit. So you do see a lot more visible and evident pinstriping as well. Also on the door handle, because of the area where there's a lot of, I guess, more friction and grip when you grab on the door handle to open and close, there has been some of the Plastidip material that rubbed away to expose some of the chrome. Right, but for the time being, I'm still going to leave that on there to see how they hold up. And if they do become just really messed up, then I will have to just go to the dealer and replace them with the blacked out covers. Also, I did add side steps to the side of the car. Now these are bolt-on. I'll put a link in the description below for these ones. I got it off of Amazon. It's by the Tiger brand. So what I did was these are basically 8 screw bolt-ons right underneath the car on the frame. But now, although these are really durable and really strong side steps, they are not meant to be used for actual rock crawling, as well as to use as lifting points with a jack, like a high lift jack. Currently, the best use for them that we have on this one is for, to protect my door against any other doors that are opening on the side. Or when I'm parked in parking spots, because I take up more space, I'm kind of closer to cars next to me. So as a result, when people kind of haphazardly open their doors, they can potentially ding mine. So this is just the added level of protection. It may not protect against all door dings, but this is just a level that might help and assist. Also, on the topic of the bigness of the car, just recently I did go out on a overlanding trip, and we did go through some narrow trails. And sometimes on these narrow trails, these bushes just kind of stick in towards the trail. It's unavoidable, and you just get the pinstriping that goes to the side of the door. So I do have a bunch of scratches on the side of the car, and I'll show you that as well when we go around to the other side. Now for the rear side of the truck, on the bed I put the CVT rooftop tent, which is the Mount Rainier, as well as the awning, which is a 79-inch awning, which extends from As you can see, it kind of protrudes a little bit into the cab, but not enough to where you can't open the door, all the way to the back. And as you can see, it kind of protrudes out a little bit. Also, we take this truck everywhere. Even when we go backpacking on backpacking trips, I would have to leave this truck at the trailhead. And just for additional security purposes, I did put this safety cable, the steel safety cable with the lock, which is a weatherproof lock, over the tent and the awning, so that for whatever reason, if someone decides to try to open it or whatever, it's not going to happen until this is unlocked and taken off. As for the bed rack itself, we have the KB Voodoo high-rise lift rack. This is also what I used as a low-profile bed rack method on my Tacoma, and I really like that system, so I decided to put it on my Tundra as well. So for the Tundra, it's a little wider bed, so I had to order new racks for this bed as well. The reason I like this low profile is because it allows for enhanced aerodynamics, so that you're not encountering as much wind resistance in the freeway, as well as allowing me to be able to, park in when I take this to downtown, I can still bring it to garages, because up over here, this is about 6'5" to the top part of this rooftop tent. And a lot of the garages in downtown, the maximum height is 6'7". The only con I've noticed so far with this mod is that this awning rack on the rack sometimes gets in the way, or tends to get in the way of me unzipping the rooftop tent cover. So I find myself having to go either over or under in order for me to get the zipper to go pass through all the way through down to the other side of the rooftop tent cover. As for the bed rack, the con I noticed is that on contact points where the steel hits the other part of the rack, when they rub, they'll start to expose and take off the coating. So when that happens is, I noticed on my Tacoma, when I had the same kind of rack, it kind of rusted in those certain areas. So basically what I would need to do is just keep an eye out for those spots and just do updated maintenance on them. Now, as far as the backside of the truck goes, as you can see, I did use the smoke Plastidip along with a couple of clear coats to darken out the taillights. And I like this look because it enhances the stealth look of the vehicle, but I really do like this look, so it's more for aesthetic purposes, as well as, kind of on the, if we park somewhere, I don't want to have too much attention on this vehicle. Although it does still get attention, I wanted to kind of decrease that as much as I could. The only con about this so far is definitely it's a potential safety issue. When I do brake, signal, and reverse, you definitely still see the lights, but it's not as bright, of course. So what I do want to do is eventually I want to change out the bulbs for LED bulbs, which are much brighter and wouldn't be an issue having this smoke on there. But with that said, you can still see the lights for braking, turning, and backing up. All right, and as far as the tonneau cover, I do have the Tiger tonneau cover on top of the truck. It is definitely a budget type of tonneau cover. It's a trifold cover, and so far it's been really good. Now, another thing I would like to add is that I did add quick fist clamps onto the side of these racks in the holes, and I did that because in my Tacoma I mounted my shovel, my Crazy Beaver Killer Spork shovel, on the side of the rack so that it's easy access from the driver's side. So the issue with this is that these two clamps, because of where the rack positioning is, it's too far. So if we try to mount it up, the other part of the clamps do not reach the handle. So as a result, we are going to need to get a third rack and put it in the middle and separate out these racks even further for stability, which will allow us to be able to finally have two clamps that will work, or rig up another way to just kind of be able to mount this on the side, because just having one quick fist clamp contact point is not going to be enough because it'll wobble too much. So once we figured that out, I am planning to mount up the spork right on the side of the bed rack as well. As far as the windows, we got the ceramic tint all the way around aside from the windshield, and I do have the in-channel vent visors, which allows for protection of rain. Even with the windows slightly cracked open, it does rain a lot out here in the Pacific Northwest, so this does definitely allow for ventilation into the car if I want to have the windows rolled down a little bit and not get wet. Aside from that, as I mentioned earlier, this is definitely a wider car, so I do have some scratches on the door panel on this side as well. Because of the size, and when cars also hit it or people get out of their cars with the keys or something, I don't know what happened, but I do have a little scratch on this side which went in pretty deep. So as far as all these scratches go down the line, I am going to try to buff it out and wax it and try to fix it up a little bit, but I believe you know, if you do have a car that you use for overlanding and off-roading, pinstriping and stuff like that, it just comes with the territory. So there's no way to avoid it. If you don't get pinstripes, then I don't know what to say. Maybe there's a little bit more exploring you got to do. So there you go, guys. That is the current rig setup for my Overland / daily driver on the Tundra. So far, it's been able to get me wherever I wanted to go in terms of what my needs are for overland and car camping, as well as my daily driving. I've been very satisfied with this vehicle, and I look forward to just continuing to explore using this truck as well. But with that said, we do still have plans for the future for future mods. I am looking to possibly upgrading the bumpers, as well as adding better lights in terms of ditch lights or possible LED bar lights, and some other, you know, mods down the line as well. I am definitely looking into possibly doing a lift when I am able to get a second daily driver that I don't have to worry about parking garage space or anything like that as far as clearance goes. Yeah, so there's, like, as with anyone in an overlanding vehicle, there's always the list of things that you want to do to, you know, constantly improve on your experience. And I will do periodic updates as I do make modifications, and you will be along for the ride as well. So if you did enjoy this video, leave a like. If you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe. That's right. So be safe, take care, and we'll see you next time.